The sun was just beginning to crest over the jagged ridgeline of Mount Eloria, casting pale gold light through pine needles and catching dew in a prism of fleeting colors. 5 hikers, once college friends, now scattered adults, stood at the trailhead with backpacks slung over their shoulders, unaware that this would be the last time they would ever look at one another the same way. There was Jenna, the planner of the trip, a self-proclaimed minimalist with a love for wild terrain and a taste for secrets. Mason, her on-again, off-again boyfriend, the strong but silent type with a short fuse and a past he tried hard to keep buried. Layla, the high-energy influencer who had documented every one of her adventures until now and came equipped with cameras, solar chargers, and a brand sponsorship. Eli, the sarcastic software engineer who pretended to hate the outdoors but had shown up anyway, more loyal than he let on. And finally, Tess, the quietest of the group, a forensic analyst who had been acting strangely ever since they left the city. Their goal was a 5-day loop through Eloria's backcountry trails, ending at High Lake Peak. It was a remote stretch of wilderness where GPS signals flickered and few hikers ventured without guides. But Jenna, always prepared, had mapped it all. Day 1 started innocently enough. The group laughed over shared memories and teased each other as they climbed the first steep grade. Mason took the lead, cutting the switchbacks aggressively, while Jenna kept an eye on Tess, who walked at the rear, her expression unreadable. They camped near the first stream. Over freeze-dried food and a campfire, Layla set up her tripod, eager to record their first night. Tess politely declined to be in the shot. Mason disappeared into the trees for a long time. Jenna watched him go, frowning. "I thought you two were good again?" Eli asked under his breath. Jenna stirred the ashes. "You ever wonder what people do when they say they're going to get firewood?" Eli paused. "Only every time someone goes missing in a horror movie." They laughed, but Jenna didn't. Later that night, while the others slept, she opened her phone and scrolled through old messages. There was a photo Tess had accidentally sent months ago, an image of a man in a hotel hallway. It had no context, no caption, just the face of someone Jenna hadn't seen in years. Someone tied to a secret Mason swore he'd never tell. Day 2 brought a fork in the trail. The route Jenna had mapped led left toward a ridge with sweeping views. Mason, however, pushed for the less scenic but faster route to the right. "We don't need to add extra miles," he said. Layla, panting and filming herself, chirped, "Scenic shots matter. Trust me, Ridge Trail is where the magic happens." Tess stayed quiet. Jenna took a deep breath. "We stick to the plan." The group climbed the ridge where the view was breathtaking and the danger just beginning. At the top, they found a makeshift memorial, a pile of stones, a weathered photo, and a name scratched into the granite. A. Richmond, 2019. Eli tilted his head. "Who's that?" Jenna stared, her mouth dry. "Ava Richmond. She went missing here 5 years ago. Search and rescue never found her." Mason frowned. "That's not on the official map." "No," Jenna said, "because I added it myself." That night, tempers flared. Layla complained her batteries were draining too fast. Mason snapped at Eli for burning dinner. Tess excused herself early and vanished into the darkness with her journal. Jenna confronted Mason. "Why did you push for the shortcut?" He shrugged. "Efficiency." "Or because you didn't want us to see this?" She pointed toward the memorial. "You're paranoid," he said, walking away. Jenna stared at the flames, the memory of that old photo burning brighter now. On day 3, it began to unravel. Tess didn't show up for breakfast. Her tent was empty, her bag still inside. Her phone sat on top of it, powered off. Jenna, Layla, and Eli immediately fanned out to search while Mason took a slower, more deliberate path down a game trail. "She wouldn't go far without her gear," Eli said, wiping sweat from his brow. "She wouldn't just leave her phone," Jenna muttered. They searched for hours. Finally, at the edge of a ravine, Jenna found a scrap of paper caught on a low branch. It had Tess's handwriting, messy, hurried. A single word, trailhead. "She was heading back?" Layla asked. "Or someone wanted us to think that," Jenna said. That night they argued. "We should hike back," Layla insisted. "This is insane. She could have fallen," Eli said. "We need help." Jenna's voice was ice. "We're not alone out here. Someone's playing us." Mason said nothing. At dawn on day 4, the group woke to find Mason gone. No note, no pack, just an empty space where he'd slept. Jenna's jaw clenched. "We're not being hunted, we're being divided." Eli stared. "What does that mean?" "It means someone knows why we're here." "What do you mean, why we're here? We're here to hike." Jenna looked at him. "I didn't organize this trip for fun." Layla was pacing. "We're trapped out here with someone who's manipulating us. And you're telling me this was a setup?" Jenna took a deep breath. "Tess and I were investigating Ava Richmond. She was my roommate in college. Mason dated her. She disappeared on this trail." Eli's face paled. "She vanished 5 years ago. Mason said it was an accident. But last month I got that photo. And I knew something happened up here." Layla sat down hard. "So what now?" Jenna looked toward the summit. "We finish the loop. We find Mason, and we find out the truth." But as they set off toward High Lake Peak, they didn't know they were being watched from the trees above, where a trail camera clicked silently in the wind. The morning after Mason's disappearance was quiet, too quiet. Fog rolled low through the forest canopy, swirling between the trunks like restless spirits. The air felt heavy, charged with something unsaid. Jenna, Eli, and Layla broke camp with robotic precision. Nobody spoke much. The mountain had taken 2 of their own, and there was no telling what waited higher up. "We stick together," Jenna said, adjusting the straps of her pack. "No arguments here," Eli muttered, eyes sweeping the trail ahead. The climb toward High Lake Peak was steep and narrow. Switchbacks curled like a serpent through the dense fir trees. Every twig snap made Layla flinch. Every rustle made Eli's hand twitch toward the bear spray at his belt. Midway through the climb, they found a footprint, fresh and pointed uphill. Mason's tread unmistakable. Jenna knelt beside it and traced the edges. "He's close." "Or someone wants us to think that," Eli muttered. As they pushed higher, the fog thickened. Trees gave way to granite outcroppings and the scent of wet moss. They paused at a narrow ledge overlooking a valley. Layla raised her phone. "Signal's dead again. Keep it off," Jenna said. "If someone's tracking us, that's a beacon." Layla frowned but nodded. Then they saw it, a flash of red fabric down the slope, tangled in a bush near the base of a rock wall. Jenna was the first to scramble down. She reached the fabric and pulled. It was Mason's windbreaker, torn at the collar, a smear of dried blood at the seam. No body. Eli looked sick. "Is this staged?" "I don't know," Jenna whispered. They found a trail marker nearby, one that wasn't part of the official loop. A red ribbon tied around a branch, leading off the main trail and deep into the woods. "Should we follow it?" Layla asked. Jenna hesitated. "We don't have a choice." The new path was overgrown and wild. It snaked downhill toward a ravine Jenna recognized from her research. The area had been flagged in old forestry maps, unstable rock slides, abandoned campsites, and worse. They hiked in silence until they reached a clearing. A dilapidated shack stood crooked in the center, roof sagging, door open. It didn't look like any ranger post Jenna had ever seen. Eli raised a hand. "What the hell is this place?" Inside the shack, dust coated every surface. A cot with a sunken mattress, rusty lanterns, and on the far wall, photographs, taped haphazardly, black and white in color, some water damaged, but all showing people, smiling, hiking, and in one unmistakably Ava Richmond. Her arm draped over a younger Mason. Jenna's breath hitched. "That's him," Eli whispered. Layla looked over his shoulder. "Who's the guy in the background?" Jenna stepped closer. "That's the man from Tess's photo." Eli shook his head. "This isn't a shack, it's a memorial or a shrine." More photos showed maps, trails, pins stuck into certain loops. Some had dates, some had names. Missing hikers, Jenna realized. Someone's been watching for years. Behind the cot, they found a locked trunk. Eli picked the latch with a hairpin. Inside, files, driver's licenses, passports, memory cards, and a small wooden box. Jenna opened it and recoiled. Inside, a bloody handkerchief and a silver pendant with Ava's initials. "This proves it," she whispered. "She didn't just disappear, she was murdered." Layla backed away, shaking. "I'm done. I want out of here." "You can't leave now," Jenna said. "This is what we came for." "No," Eli snapped. "This is what you came for." Dot came to hike. A branch cracked outside. They froze. Someone was in the woods. Eli stepped to the window, heart pounding. A figure darted between trees, tall, hooded, and fast. "Go!" Jenna shouted. They burst out of the shack and tore back up the hill. The woods echoed with pursuit. Twigs snapped behind them. Layla screamed. Jenna looked back. The figure had stopped just beyond the tree line, watching. A camera hung around his neck. Not Mason, not Tess. Someone else. They didn't stop until they reached a ridge near the summit. Gasping, hands on knees, they collapsed against a rock face. "Someone's living out here," Eli panted. Stalking hikers, taking trophies. "I think Tess knew," Jenna said. "I think she came to confront them." "Then where is she?" Layla snapped. Jenna didn't answer. That night, they camped high on the ridge. No fire, no chatter. Jenna read over the names she'd copied from the shrine. Some matched missing person reports, some didn't. Eli stared at the stars. "We can't go to the peak. We need to descend. Fast. Tomorrow," Jenna said. First light. She didn't tell them she'd recognized one more face in those photos. Her own. The sun broke over the horizon like a blood-orange wound, staining the mountain ridge with light as cold as it was bright. Jenna was the first to rise, brushing the frost from her jacket as she checked the ridgeline trail. No movement, no sound, only the slow exhale of the forest awakening beneath them. She knelt by the cold ashes of their unlit fire and flipped through her notebook. The names from the shrine repeated in loops in her mind. Ava, Mason, Tess, and now hers. Jenna didn't tell Eli or Layla what she saw in that photo because the implications were too great. Someone had marked her long before this hike began. By the time the others stirred, her decision had been made. "We keep going," she said. Layla shook her head. "You said we'd go down," I lied. Jenna stared at them. "Because the only way down now is through." Eli looked between them. "You're not thinking straight." "I'm thinking clearer than I ever have," she said. "If we leave, this never gets solved. That shack, those pictures. No one will believe us without more proof." "So what?" Layla snapped. "We just keep climbing until what? We find a corpse?" "Maybe." She expected them to push back, but Eli simply nodded. "Let's end this." The path to the summit was barely a trail at all, just carved rock and faded markers. Around them, mist crawled over stone and pine, casting ghostly shadows on every turn. They reached a plateau near the peak, where an old fire tower stood rusting in the gray dawn. Its stairs were mostly intact, though coated in frost. Someone had been there recently. The fresh boot prints gave it away. Jenna led the way up. The wind howled through the slats as they climbed. From the top, they could see the valley, the trail, even the shack far below. But what drew their attention wasn't the view. It was the tent. Nestled beneath the fire tower, camouflaged under a tarp of branches and brush, was a modern camping tent, zipped shut. Jenna dropped to her knees and unzipped it slowly. Inside, maps, gear, more photos, and Tess. She was alive. Pale, dehydrated, bound at the wrists, but alive. Layla gasped. "Tess?" The girl's eyes fluttered open. She smiled weakly. "You came." Eli sliced the restraints. "Who did this?" Tess shook her head. "Not now. We have to go. They're coming back." "They?" Jenna asked. Before Tess could answer, a voice echoed through the pines. "I see you found her." The figure stepped out from the trees. It was Mason, but not the Mason they knew. This one was changed. Calm, deliberate, eyes sunken with secrets too long kept. "You left a trail," he said. Jenna stood. "You faked your disappearance." "I had to. I was trying to protect her, all of you." "By drugging Rothschild? By running?" Mason glanced at Tess. She saw too much. Ava, she wanted out, but they wouldn't let her. So she made a deal. Layla stepped forward. "Who's they?" Mason looked back toward the woods. Two more figures emerged. Jenna recognized them, the hooded man from the shack, and another woman, older, with sharp features and a cold stare. "You weren't supposed to find this," the woman said. "You were supposed to hike. Take your selfies. Go home." Jenna squared her shoulders. Too late for that. The woman, who introduced herself as Dr. Sabine Maris, was a former behavioral psychologist turned rogue researcher. She'd been studying patterns of human behavior under stress in isolated environments. Her subjects? Hikers. She'd constructed an elaborate experiment over the years. With partners like Pike, Rothschild, and Mason, people she could manipulate. It was never about money, Maris said. It was about truth. "You killed Ava," Jenna said. "No," Maris replied. "Ava took her own life." She realized the weight of what she'd uncovered. She left the tablet for someone else to finish what she started. Mason stepped between them. "Let them go, I'll stay." "No one leaves," Mara said. But Eli had already pulled the signal flare from his bag. He lit it. Smoke surged into the air, bright red, arcing like a beacon into the sky. "We're not alone anymore," he said. "You better run." Sirens began to wail in the distance. Maris hissed and vanished into the trees. Jenna grabbed Tess and ran. Layla and Eli followed. Mason stayed behind, eyes fixed on the summit. Hours later, helicopters touched down. Tess was airlifted out. Jenna and the others gave statements. The mountain was cordoned off, the shack destroyed in a controlled burn. Mason was never found. Neither was Maris. Weeks passed. Jenna went public with the story. Podcasts, documentaries, Reddit forums exploded. Some believed them, others didn't. But the names of the missing were released. The photos from the shrine authenticated. One trail was renamed Ava's Path. Jenna hikes it every year now, alone. And every year at the summit, she finds a red ribbon tied to a pine, waiting.